Hi, folks. Again, sorry it's taken so long for me to put another video together. There's just been so much going on away from, I suppose you'd say sport or what I'd like to be doing. There's so many other things going on. I just haven't got around to it. And I just will be totally honest with you. I have no idea how long this is going to last or what it'll sound like, but I just wanted to put something together to fill the gap because it feels like it's a good while since I did one. Again, unfortunately, I'm starting on a very somber note. I've since I posted the last video, I've had to deal with two very difficult bereavements in the last week or so. As it happened out, both funerals actually ended up taking place on my birthday, but that sort of didn't didn't help the situation because as any of you who've been following my videos since I started doing them will know, I do struggle with my own mental health on and off, and unfortunately, it's been more on than off lately. But when things like what happened in the last week or so happened, it just it magnifies the whole thing and makes things so very much more difficult to deal with. But um, any of you that know me well enough will know I am a battler. I am a trier, and I'll always try to keep going, and always will keep going as long as there's a pulse in me, as I just say. But the last week or so has definitely tested me to the limit. But there comes a time where no matter how bad or how out of it I may feel, and I'm only speaking of myself here, I know depression and mental health issues are different for everybody, and everybody has different ways of dealing with them. But I know from my own point of view that no matter how low I might feel or how much I might be struggling, and I have been struggling the last while, there comes a point where you just nearly have to force yourself to get into doing something sort of that's constituted as normal, whatever that is, and get back into some sort of routine and try and get back on the road, as it were. Now, I'd be brutally honest with you, it's a Sunday evening here, it's 20 to 4. I'm not out of the woods by any means in this current tough spell, but I'm hoping and even praying, and for me to turn to prayer now, it'll give you some indication of where we're at. But I'm thinking I'm turning out of the worst of it again. I am trying to convince myself to fill up my mind with the fact that in 2 weeks, this time in 2 weeks, Meath will be playing in the championship, and now, come hell or high water, I will be there. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I will. And it's a case of when I'm really, really struggling, it's a case of having to have something to look forward to and something to aim at. And as of now, the Meath game on the 12th of May is exactly that for me at the minute. Right, to start talking about a bit of sport, I suppose, soon as how SportsLife is the name of this vlog. I suppose it's about time I started talking about something. And I will in a roundabout sort of way because, first of all, before getting into different sporting topics, what I want to do is just to bring everybody up to date with where my book is at. For those of you that don't know, last October, following the untimely passing of Sean Nealon, the now sadly former owner of Brady's Pub in Dunboyne, by way of therapy for myself, I think more than anything, uh, I decided I was going to write a book. Of course, writing the book became all the more possible because of the absolutely glorious year St. Peter's GA were very lucky to have had. And the book, as some of you might know, more you mightn't, it's called Heroics and Heartache, an armchair view of an unforgettable year. And I started it, as I said, the day after Sean Nealon was buried, he was buried on the 17th of October, so I started on the 18th. I know it's dragging on at this stage, and I know people are wondering will it ever come out or had it gone or what was the story, but the second draft is with the printer now. He tells me as of the weekend that we'll have the second draft ready for proofreading, hopefully in the middle of the week. It is going ahead. I'm not giving up on it. And more than that, I'm actually in the very, very, very early stages of starting another book. Again, by way of therapy for myself and giving myself something to aim at and a bit of a target to go for. But the first one will hopefully be out in the very near future. And just to reiterate again, I may have mentioned it on YouTube, or I may not. I've certainly mentioned it on Facebook and Twitter and on BoylanTalkSport.com in recent months, but just to give the audience here a heads up as well. Any money raised from the book, half of it will go to the Support Sean Cox Trust Fund, and I would hope that the project is nearing completion, and I would hope that people would be receptive to it when it does happen. Now, to actually talk about a bit of sport, I suppose. Well, since we were here last, I think the second round of the club championships in Meath have taken place, and it's in one sense it didn't go according to plan from a Dunboyne point of view because very, very disappointing defeat against Wolf Tones in our second round clash at Screen was our lot. I'd love to say I was surprised, but I wasn't really. Because the Tones are still one of the most potent teams in the county on a given day. They possess in their armoury, of course, arguably still the best forward in the county, certainly at club level in Keane Ward. And unfortunately, we were made to pay with interest for Mr. Ward's potency still at this level that he was the main reason we didn't win in one sense, but at a deeper level, I don't think there's anywhere to look for reasons why we didn't win. Only in the mirror, And I would hope that, going forward as the year goes on, that we might pick up. It just, and I am not or never would criticize our lads, just it was so disappointing. And yes, maybe it was double disappointing for me for the simple reason that I was clinging to the hope that it might have given me a lift, and it didn't. But look, the only thing about it is, what really hit, I think, about it was that it was our first defeat in the championship match in nearly 2 years. The last defeat in the championship match um, was the now infamous capitulation against Simonstown in the quarterfinal, I think it was 2 years ago, and that really knocked the bottom out of yours truly at the time. But look, there's been much debate and counter debate about the club championship structures and made and whatnot uh, in recent years, and whatever about how things are going to end up next year. And I'm not even going to go into it now because I haven't studied it, number one, and even if I did, I believe it takes a bit of getting the head around. But as for now, all I can be is thankful that the structures are as they are at the minute. We still have ample time to get ourselves back into contention to hold on to the Keegan Cup for another bit. Uh, if things go the way they should, both within ourselves and on a broader scale. And you would hope that, please God, if the Meath senior football team get a fairly decent run in the championship, that whatever time it might buy with the club seeing being out of action, that hopefully we'll be able to put it to good use. Now, for all that there was major disappointment with that result in Screen, it was, on the other hand, very good to see our other three adult teams winning in the intermediate Junior B and Junior D championships. So, it's not all doom and gloom, but again, and I'm only speaking personally here, I cannot tell you how disappointing it was coming away from Screen after the Tones game. But look, we're still alive and kicking and we're still going. To move on to horse racing now, and definitely one of the highlights of the last while for myself, as it is one of the highlights every year, was the Ferryhouse Easter Festival. Sadly, due to circumstances, I only made one day this year instead of my usual two, but absolutely great to be there. I think it was definitely the warmest day I was ever in Ferryhouse on Easter Sunday. Certainly the first day I ever went to Ferryhouse in my short sleeves and come home from a sunburn. Delighted for Peter Rowe and staff to see great crowds in it over the 3 days. I come out with a few bob in front on the Sunday, which is always good. As I say, but I never go Easter Monday. But sorry, folks, I had to pause there for a minute. I'm not sure where I signed off. I think I was talking about Ferryhouse, and I haven't been there on Sunday in the heat, making a few bob and all that. And I may have said that, of course, I never usually go on the Monday, and this year was no different. But I did actually make a few bob on it, and I made a few bob on the Irish National. Now, I had